Paulette. How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm just sending invitations still. People are saying, I
Yeah,
haven't been invited, so I'm sending them invitations. Oh
yes.
my goodness. I just got to
I'm
get
gonna say,
out of this before it starts trying to join me on there as well. Right,
I,
I'm out of it now. More
I,
yours.
I'm gonna send the invite because I haven't done it yet. No, if I do disappear, where's the screen thing? If I disappear because my screen freezes or something goes wrong, just carry on like nothing's wrong at all, right? This is CV, Paulette. Just carry on as if no, and they won't even notice I'm not here.
This is live, right? We're pretending it's live TV, are we?
Yeah. It's not pretending. This is now, and it's going to turn this into live TV with the
God
shows.
help
Help.
us. God
Yes,
help
yes.
us. I was bawling my eyes out not half an hour ago, so it's not a
Why?
good look, but because I was talking to my cousin about the
Okay. Go.
everything. So anyway, enough.
Yes,
Let's not
yes.
go there. We're not going to talk about it. Anyway,
Right. So now,
so
today's topic is an interesting one. I got to try to be good and not argue with you and not rant. I'm going to try and really stay calm and let you do your thing, right? But I will point out the error of your ways, of course. Welcome, Cyrus. At least you're here. You can hear us. So again, LinkedIn's been playing up recently. LinkedIn's doing something funny with events again. So we're struggling to send the invites, struggling to access
struggling
it.
with it. I've lost my button. It's
Uh,
like the worst thing that could happen. You lose your events button. It's like you've done something wrong. Woke up one day and I had no button.
let me see. Now, so where are we? Are we live? I'm
I
going
don't
through
know.
your
Tell me, are
posts.
we live before I start talking?
So I
Talk
can
to
see.
Cyrus. Hi, Cyrus.
I can see the
Sorry, I
page.
haven't done everything because I said I would because I've been talking to my cousin through what's going on at funerals and things. It's sort of horrific.
Right. Now,
Anyway,
there is a page. So I'm on the page now. I can see Cyrus on
are
the
we
page.
live?
It seems like we are.
Do we think we're live? Are we live?
Yeah, we're actually live. We're actually live.
We are. Hello, everybody. Lovely to see you. I think it's really funny that when you wake up one day, you haven't got a deal button, you haven't got an event button, and you go, well, what did I do to have them steal my event button? And as far as I can see, I haven't done anything, but I am without my event button. So apparently, I'm not the only one. So we're in some kind of event buttonless world where any set this up, and we're just going to go with it. I don't know who's going to turn up or who isn't. Up until about half an hour ago, I was going to cancel because I had a very, very difficult conversations. And then I thought, no, sod it, I'm going to do it because I know this is going to be a very difficult conversation because I know what Annie feels about things like this, but there's a very difficult situation going on and I want to discuss it. So, first of all, I'm Paulette Hallam. I'm the author of the Jack and Water book series and also of the Jack and Water charity. We're currently setting it up as we speak. And the charity is set up to buy books because we've been buying books ourselves for the last 4 years. And it's got to the point now where people want, like, I've got Great Ormond Street want 200. I've got other hospitals have asked for 200 for their Christmas parties. And I don't want to say no. So I need to raise money. So one of the ways I'm going to do it is by having a GoFundMe page. So I'll just warn you now, if you know me, I'll be coming asking. And it's not for me, it's to buy books. And I can buy author copies, but you have to understand that in order to buy the author copies, you still got to have the funds. And it's cost us thousands over the last few years. And it's got to the point where Charles has gone, enough. So now it's down to me to say, right, just like with the TikTok, which I'm very glad to say has reached the end. So as of the end of this week, I will no longer be coming here moaning about TikTok. I'll be out of all my samples. I would have done everything that's been asked of me, and I can breathe again from that situation. But it was done with a purpose to get product for a charity, so I can give the care leavers a gift at the end of the year to see them through the next few months of toiletries and makeup and goodness knows what else. So I always find a way around things. I don't know how or why. Even today, like this should be a disaster, and here we are working. So I thank Henny for that. Thank you very much for sorting it all out. I have no idea how many people are going to come because I couldn't invite anyone because I didn't have an event. If you haven't got an event button, you haven't got an event. You haven't got an event, you can't invite anyone. So we're here. Who's going to be joining us? We have no idea. So I'm going to pass it back to Annie to do his hellos, and then just say thank you for those that do come, and those that didn't get the invitation, I apologize. If you bear with, you will be able to catch us on the what do you call it? Catch us on the replay. There you go. I got the word. Back to you, Ennio Sung, the godfather of LinkedIn.
Right, Marsha's here. That cheers me up. And as Sarah says, don't worry, we'll get through this together. Of course, my friends, if you're here, drop us a comment. And say we'll know you. You can see the numbers, but we can't see that it's you. And we'd love to welcome you properly. Look, our technical issues, they're what they are. LinkedIn's making changes somewhere, and we just don't know where they are, right? So look, Cyrus, Marsha, you're more than welcome to join the studio. I can send you the link, even though I might fall off by doing when I do that, right? So please share the GoFundMe here. I'm resharing now. Paulette, you haven't got a GoFundMe yet, have you, Paulette? So the charity is starting. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
That's because you taught me so well.
That's good.
I mute when I'm not talking because you taught me. Yes, no, he's setting it up as we speak. So as soon as it's done, I'll do a big splurge. Probably not one of those fuzzy videos you get in the moment of me. But yeah, it will be basically to launch the charity once we're in a position to. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that you have to be realistic, and I don't like being realistic, but I understand that we have to be.
Yeah,
So
well,
I'm really
there's
grateful.
a
Thank
cause.
you for being here, and thank you for saying you do that for me. So I appreciate you.
There's a cause. Marlene Foster.
Yay.
I'm meant to be publishing her book, and she wants to donate or contribute funds for not for profits. So she'll just share it
Okay.
among not for profit friends. So I will happily introduce you to her. I've
Yes,
introduced Mar.
we're meeting. Mm.
Right, so now I mentioned this, I've introduced Marsha to her as well, and with of course, Marsha's homelessness or housing. Yes,
Unhoused.
unhoused, that one, right? that. So I'm hoping that will become something bigger that will help to raise funds for the work you do. All your amazing people who do not charity work. That's a simple term, but not for profit, right? So Sarah says, "Sure thing, let's do it." You want the link, Cyrus, or do you want? Should we start the conversation?
Yeah,
And
let's do it.
let's tell them what we want to talk about.
I want to tell you about why I'm having the conversation in the first place.
Go for it.
And I'll explain why. And I'm sorry, Cyrus, I did say I'd send you the stuff and I haven't done it, so I apologize. I just wanted to explain my thought process, and this is what started it. Was Ben has just, as you know, graduated. It's a big thing. We're all very excited. Along with lots of other people, hundreds of thousands of people graduate, right? They graduate in Ben's case rather, he graduated with a degree, a bachelor's and a master's at the same time, and he got a first with honours in both because that's how they do it. So that counts as 2 degrees, just so you know. So when they talk about how many people are leaving university with a degree, that would mean 2 degrees in Ben's case. So I just want to know that I haven't doubled up on the numbers. I've looked into it. I found out how the OPS, I think it's called, work out how to organize the Office of Statistics and whatever it is. They said, look, these degrees are counted twice, but this is why. But what they say is this, and this is the part that's kind of hit me with a little bit of a kick to the teeth. Between January and March of this year, 2026, and I've got the UK numbers because I'm talking about the UK. I can do the US numbers next time, and I think we should do it. And I think the reason we should do it is because I think it's going to shock you. But between 16 and 24-year-olds, in January to March of this year, there were 400,000 unemployed. And they call them this word that's called NEET, N-E-E-T. Then I'm going to tell you this. 49% of people who are employed from that age bracket, 16 to 24, with a degree, 49% of them are now working in jobs that don't require a degree. So they could have got that job without having had a degree, without 4 years, 3 years of debt, and taken that job the same as any other as a non-graduate. Now, economy, or the economists, I should say, to use the correct terminology, have said, and this is quoted, so it's in, right? The economy doesn't create graduate jobs at the university rates they produce them. I'll repeat that. The economy as a whole in the UK doesn't create graduate jobs at the rate the university is producing graduates. In other words, we are always going to have a surplus of graduates. We're always going to have a surplus of people that have spent 3 years at university, 4 years at university, for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, whether they've had a good time or not, whether they've learnt people skills or not, whether they've learned other things like living on their own or whatever, or doing their own washing, yippee. You know what? Those skills they could have learned at home. So the question is, what did they get from being at university? So I am not shouting out, I'm against universities. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, if we are not producing the vacancies, the graduate trainee schemes, the opportunities for these young people, why the hell should they go and become and do the jobs that are required, right? So one of the things I looked at was, what are the key areas of people unemployed that have got degrees. This is from 2024. So 2025. So they graduated in 2025. Ben's graduated in 2026. So in 2025, there are, and this is a quote, 2,750 midwives currently unemployed. We are supposed to be having a shortage of midwives, and yet there are 2,750 unemployed midwives. There are the largest number, percentage-wise, of people that have got degrees and can't get jobs are in computer science. That is because computer science has been teaching them how to code, how to write code, how to be able to do all these amazing things that now they've found out that AI can do in minutes. So rather than employ people to sit there and do it for hours, they can now get AI to do it in minutes. This isn't a lie. This isn't me trying to pull a fast one. I'm just telling you the truth, okay? So if you're doing a degree in computer science, unless you've got a speciality, So unless you've gone down a certain route that will get you through a door, you're unemployed. That is not going to get you a job. Computer science degree, nah. Highest number of unemployed that got degrees, computer science, are unemployed. The next, and as I said, this has all come from, I've looked at various forms of data. We have suddenly become a country that says everybody needs to have further education. We've become a country that says you must have, by the time you're 18, this standard of maths, this standard of English. Now, I don't see that as a bad thing. It doesn't mean you're held back in school if you haven't made the grade, but it means that you still have to do the work to get a grade in, I think it's a grade 4 something in maths and English. So the government have done something called education expansion. That was again, the wording straight from government. It's called education expansion. Education expansion means that we have dramatically increased the number of people doing higher education. And you can ask yourself, why? Right? Just why? So the result is that, unfortunately, a degree is no longer unusual. Point 1. Point 2, the HESA, which is another huge body of they look at data and they come up with ways that data is expanded on and used for various things, like, if you're having a conversation at a very high level. So the HESA have said 1.04 million higher education qualifications were given out in 2024-2025. Okay, that's not an inherently bad thing. And he's going to come at me for this, so I'm ready for him. No, it's not an inherently bad thing. Further education, if there aren't the jobs there, why not? Why not go and get better educated if there isn't a job there waiting for you? However, the problem occurs when the economy doesn't simultaneously create those high-skilled positions for those productive people who've just gone and got these degrees, right? So therefore, you end up with a whole bunch of graduates with no vacancies and no jobs and nothing in the field that they're in. And so then they're in a situation where do people say, if you didn't get a first, I'm very sorry? Or are they going to say, do you have a master's? Whereas a degree meant something, it stood for something. Now there's so many people coming out of university with a degree, they're going to start saying, well, what degree did you get? What was it in? And what grade did you get? And it's like, I only want to work in the bakers, it's that bad. So the young person now carries the risk. And I know you're coming for me, Annie, so just bear with, okay? The young person now carries with them a sense of why. Why have I got myself into this debt? Huge debt. The medical students, that especially the 4-year master's midwifery graduates, have got upwards of 100,000 debt. Most students are anywhere between 55 and 100,000, and doctors are about 140. Now, over the course of their employment, a doctor will recoup 400,000 more than the average wage, therefore making it worthwhile being a doctor. You could argue, right? You put in 150, but you got back 400, and you can pay for it over a period of time. Therefore, it kind of equates. But if you're a young person who's taken on a degree thinking that you were going to get a better job and end up getting a job that anybody could have got with or without a degree, you've now got a debt. You've now got the feeling of what was the purpose, the why. Why did you make me do that? Why did I go to university? Why did I spend 4 years at university when I could have been working and saving and potentially have some money in the bank right now to actually potentially buy a property or move on or whatever? Who knows what you could have been doing? So the questions we've got to keep asking ourselves is this, and it's a good counter argument. Is university is a waste of money? No, I'm not saying that at all. Research isn't saying that either. Research is saying the average graduate still has substantially higher lifetime earnings than a comparable non-graduate. So I'm looking at the financials, okay? So over the course of their lifetime, a graduate will have a higher rate of return. Their ROI, if you like. If I put it in a business term, their return on investment. They've invested this in their degree over the course of their lifetime of employment, they will get it back. I don't like to talk about ROIs when you talk about humans, but I am. However, and this is the part that I was getting quite stressed about, the IFS, another huge organization, the International Financial Organization, one of the biggest. They also feed into the monetary systems and everybody. They all combine all of their information. They say that the gain is only around 100 grand over a lifetime. So you spend out 100 grand over a lifetime, you'll get 200 back. But your ROI is going to take you your lifetime. So while finding out that 1/4 of graduates may actually be financially worse off from attending university, surely we have to explain that university is a topic and a subject we need to discuss. We need to understand the why. The reason the government decided that young people needed further education was because there wasn't the employment for them. That's the bottom line. Doesn't matter what I read, where I read it. The government decision, and this was a Tory decision, that you had to be in education till you were 18. That was because there were not the jobs for people who were 18. Okay? Up to the age of 18, there just weren't those sort of jobs, that entry-level job. So they thought further education keeps them off the dole, keeps them out of the numbers, the unemployment statistics. Now, that's me being quite cynical, all right? And I'm going to let you come for me. But if you have put people in debt, if you've sent them to university to give them a position of debt, how can that be right? How? On what grounds? Just so your figures don't look bad? I'm sorry. I wish I'd been in that meeting. Somebody somewhere should have said, but those kids deserve better, surely. Don't those kids deserve the opportunity that everyone else does? Well, no, sorry. Put them to university, get them to go further ed. We'll save ourselves, So they didn't have to pay them out of dole money, right? They didn't have to put them on unemployment benefit. Now, there aren't the vacancies for them to go for the actual interviews. It's a compulsory thing now, and I don't know how many people know that in the UK, you have to attend, right, 4 interviews a month in order to sign your little chitty to say that you're entitled to unemployment benefit. You have to show them that you've sent X number of CVs out. You have to show them you've done all these things. These young people are saying, I can't do that because there aren't the jobs there. So they're saying, well, there was a cleaning job you could have gone for, or there was a driver's job you could have gone for. And they're going, yeah, I didn't go to university to get a degree in sociology and social sciences to, I want to become a social worker. Yeah, sorry, got no social worker jobs. How do you fancy being a cleaner? How do you fancy washing the floors down at the hospital? At least you'd be in the hospital. It's as bad as that. And I'm making it a flippant conversation, but I am telling you, it is as bad as that. There are so many students as Uber drivers. They're working for Amazon as drivers. They're working in supermarkets. They are working at the entry level jobs that you could have got without a degree. As soon as they earn 21,000, they start having to pay a percentage. It's not a huge amount, but the Labour government are saying they're going to put up what they're going to take off you as soon as you earn over 24,000. Well, quite frankly, if you earn 24,000 and they start taking money off you, it's a pittance what you're going to be actually receiving back as an income. So if you think about this, and these are my final numbers, the heart of the question for me is this. If we have 1 million higher education qualified awards per year, 1 million, while simultaneously having 1 million 16 to 24-year-olds NEET, NEET, that lovely word, and 400,000 unemployed NEET young people, then it's completely measurable and completely reasonable for me to go to the Office of Fair Trade or to go to the government and say, what is the relationship between young people who are going to feel like they've been cheated by education? I'll stop there because I think when I get into the ONS and what they say, they're saying there's 743,000 unemployed 16 to 24-year-olds as of July 2026. 743,000. July is when they all went and graduated and they all collected their certificates, and now they'll be collecting the dole money. Have a think about that for a minute and then ask yourself, what's gone wrong? Back to you, Annie. Ennio Song, are you there?
I'm back. Okay, right. So welcome, my friends. And I've got to try not to go crazy, right? I'm not going to go crazy today. I'm going to be calm. And I'm going to have a conversation with Paulette. If you want to join us and have this conversation, feel free. Even I fear, it's not a fear. I think we're probably going to have to extend this, as we always do, Paulette, into another week because time is always against us, right? Jay, how you doing, my friend? Our storytelling genius. Great to see you. So, Chris, I see you too. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Coach Sean. I think Coach Sean is part of the answer to your question, Paulette. So, welcome. So, got your message a few minutes ago. Pop in and have about 10 minutes before he has to go. So, thank you for joining us, my friends. Look, if you're here, please, share your ideas, share your insights in the comments, and let's get some of your thoughts in a conversation. Right, Paulette, everything you've said so far, I haven't had to go crazy about because everything you say is right. Everything I agree with you on the statistics, the numbers, the reality, right? Here, and the reality, as you point out, is this: there's never been enough jobs for graduates. There's not enough jobs for anything. No sector has jobs waiting for anyone. It was the same in my time, in your time, and school's expensive, Marsha. I agree. I had to pay, I think I was the first year in the UK to have to pay for university. Before that was free, right? Suddenly we had to pay. So there's never been enough jobs, and it comes down to what you said towards the end. How good are you? How you doing, Mike? Thank you so much for our song as always, my friend. Good to see you. Right, Paulette, look, there's no guarantees. You know, you go to university to open your mind and open possibilities, right? And I don't know why we're trying to tell our kids that it's a straight line between education and job. It isn't. Do you want it? Are you good? How good are you? That's what it comes down to in the end, surely. You know, and look, of course, I got a degree in psychology. You got a degree in what you do in something, right? You know, so as I got towards the end of I got a master's as well in psychology, by the way, but business psychology. As you get towards the end of your degree, you got to make choices, Paulette. Specialize, right? What do you want to do in the end? For me, the path was meant to be clinical psychology, a therapist. So I was like, no, hell no, I'm not doing that. But simply because they said, you're going to have to be a client. We have to psychoanalyze you first before you can be a psychologist, right? I ran away. I ran a mile. I did the master's instead. And I paid for that myself. Right. And after that, I was meant to say, my master's was meant to be an HR, human resource management person. I looked at the sector. I went for a couple of interviews, and the jobs were going to young girls in pinstripe skirts. See, that does thin skirts, right? I'm like, damn, that's not me. And apart from that, I think it's a corrupt industry because those young girls were not really standing up for employee rights, employee entitlements, employee anything. All they wanted to do was their brief, in other words, was to sing the management song and screw the workers. Get workers to work more for less using psychology. I was like, how? I'm not doing that. I'm off. I'm off, right? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just off. Right. You know, this is part of the answer for the kids today, Paulette. Go through the door in front of you. If that's Amazon, if that's working in a shop, if that's working on a building site like I had to do, go do that. Start there. You know, let's see where that gets you. That's number one. I know you're going to tell me that it's not what they're qualified in. Who cares? No one cares. You know, if you want to be in the sector you're qualified for, you better be as good as the people who are actually in it. Because you have to be. And why would I employ you if you're not better than the people I've got already? You know, right? Get better. Be more committed to your choices. When I say committed, I think a lot of people miss this. Like kids today, they seem to have less commitment, less passion for their thing. There's no thing. I'm just going to do a degree. I'm walking to a job. No, you're not. You're just not. A degree is going to make you think better, think more clearly, and give you more options. What are you going to do? That's my rant for today. And it was done with a smile as well, Paulette. Right. Yeah. Do you want to speak, or should I add a bit more? No,
enough.
I've said enough.
Enough.
We'll still be friends at the end, by the way. I promise you.
We will, I promise. But the point is this, okay. The reason people are going to university isn't because they think they're going to get a job at the end of it. It's because there's no choice. You have to do further education.
No, so you don't. Yes, you don't.
Excuse me. I will finish. Let me finish. You either go to university or you get a apprenticeship, of which there was nowhere near enough. They were short by 86%. The apprenticeships promised and the apprenticeships given were 86% down on what was promised. So now you've got a kid who's going, what do I do? Right? What do I do? I've either got to go to regional college and do something practical, like learn to be a bricklayer or an electrician or something practical, a plumber or whatever, hairdressers, all the other skills that are available at the regional colleges. There is filmmaking, there's stuff like that available, there's design, art, all those kind of animation, all that type of stuff, computer science at regional college. Still college. It's free. It's free, but you only get like a qualification that is considered to be lower down the line. Okay, so you don't get a degree; you'll get a certification, like I'm trying to think what they call them. It's like a NVQs and things like that. So they're lower graded in terms of what they are, but they're more practical. But you still got to go. You still got to go. Now, you leave there at regional college, and you can leave regional college between 18 and 21. So you can do an advanced course at regional college, or you can leave at 18. But you are in education till you are 18. That was the law that was changed and it was put in place. So you either go to regional college, you do your A levels, or you have to do something else like an apprenticeship. But you are in further education of some kind until you are 18. After you are 18, you are then released into the wild. Now, at 18 years old, no company can employ you as a driver. That is the law. You have to be 21 plus to be employed as a driver, which is very fortunate when you have a whole bunch of university students leaving so they can become the drivers. Perfect. They can become Ubers. They can become working for Amazon or Tesco's or whoever they like, delivering food or delivering parcels, whatever, courier drivers. So you go away to university to become a courier driver. Well, guess what? You could have been at regional college that cost nothing, and then you could have gone from regional college and got a job doing whatever, working in a shop or whatever, and then you could have put some money away and then got a job as a driver if that's what you wanted. And guess what? You're now in exactly the same position as a university student, except the university student's got a bit of frigging paper and a huge amount of debt. My argument is this: why? Why are they so keen to send 1 million kids a year to university? Why are there so many universities? Why are there so many people employed by universities? These are huge industries in themselves. Answer this question. If the university wasn't there and we weren't paying all this money to them for our children to go there, guess what? All those people that had trained to become professors and PhDs and be able to have doctorates to teach these students wouldn't have jobs. So they have to keep this whole machine running because it's a huge machine and it's a dinosaur and it hasn't been looked at. And if they're truthful about it, and they will never be truthful about it, they knew what was happening. We have got the biggest demographic problem in the world in our country. We have gone from 4 children on average, 4 children, right, down to 1.2. I lost my point 2. I've got 1. But the average family is 1.2 children. Now, and this is not a racist comment in any way, shape, or form, but I'm going to say the average Muslim family have between 5 and 7 children. When you take the average 5.7 of theirs and the average 1.2 of white families or Caucasian families, or however you want to word it, black families usually have 2.3 to 2.5. So when you add all this in the mix, the reason everyone is up in arms about the number of people in our country, the number of young people in our country, the number of young people that have got jobs or haven't got jobs, we are looking at the education sector and saying they're shutting schools left, right, and centre because there aren't enough children. So even though the Muslims are doing their bit to keep the numbers up, there aren't enough people. We've got more old people, and I'm old. Take it, right? I'm old. I will be allowed to take a pension at the age of 67. I should have been able to take it at 60. Then they changed it to 65. Then it was changed to 67. I'm waiting for the letter to tell me it'll be 70. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. I don't think they dare, but that's what they're talking about. It's on the table. It's being discussed as we speak. For what it's worth, there aren't enough young people paying into the system for the number of people taking out of the system. It's called the demographic failure. It's a demographic failure when you have a chart where you've got, I'm just going to draw it very quickly because I saw it yesterday. Right, if I explain, can you see that there? There. This here are the pensioners drawing it out. They're taking the money out on this line. This over here is the number of people putting in, right? So you've got this huge line of people bringing in and then people taking out. There aren't sufficient people putting in for those that are taking out. That means that we are in complete and utter pension debt. So when you are in pension deficit, that means that we are not going to be able to sustain it. They talk about the number of police on the streets. They talk about the number of ambulance staff. They talk about the number of social workers, for example, counselors, therapists, whatever you want to call it, right? They talk about these numbers. I'm going to just say this to you now. That includes the number of people on their pension list. So they may say they have got X thousands of police officers. That includes the number of police officers who are retired because it comes out of the pot. So they get this pot. This is your pot. The first thing that comes out of that pot is the people that are on the pensions from the police force, which are usually, and they've only just changed in the next 2 years, and that's final pension, whatever your final year salary was, is your final that's your pension for life. So you will get whatever your final pension was, whatever your final salary was, as your pension for life from the police, right? So when the police get their budget, the first thing they have to do is take a massive, great chunk of it out to cover their pension requirements. So now we've got less money in the police force, right? Because there are more old people in the police force who can retire at the age of 48 to 52. You've got no young ones coming in because guess why? They can't afford to create jobs to bring the young police officers in because they're too busy spending the money on the old pensioners who haven't pegged it yet. They're still alive and they're still drawing these huge pensions out of the pot, and no one can afford to employ cadet police. My anger comes from the honesty. I don't mind fact. I live in the world of fact. That's where my business mind is. I live in the world of fact. What upsets me is that we're not being honest about all of this information. We don't say, actually, that budget we told you that we're giving to the police force, we're giving them X billions of pounds to the police force. Yeah, how many billions of that is going straight to the pension pot? We're giving X billion to education. Yeah, how much of that is going straight to the retiring teachers pot? And then the same and the same and the same. So just understand that we have got a massive demographic problem where we don't have enough people putting in and we have too many taken out. That's the fact. And now we have a problem where not only are they not paying in, the reason they're not paying in is they're now taking out themselves. They're taking out some sort of dole money or some kind of benefit, unemployment benefit. I think one of the words that we read yesterday was Employment seeking allowance. I love that. That's another word for the dole. Unemployment seeking allowance. This is to help me seek employment. It's exactly the same as the dole, but it's just called something else because it sounds better. I'm seeking employment, so it's okay. If there isn't a job there, you'd be seeking for a long time. Back to you, Annie.
Okay, welcome. Look, if anyone wants a link, you got 10 minutes to join us because I have to go and take my son to his activity today. So welcome, Coach Care. I see you. Of course, Dr. Lisa is here as well. Welcome. Dr. Lisa's got degrees. Degrees. Is she using that? Of course she's created her own thing, Paulette. Anyway, Jay, I think you're on the right track there, Jay. Jay says, can the government take out a municipal bond to invest in a portion in pension to grow the coffers? The government is doing many things. Look, Paulette, the numbers is what they are. I agree with you. We have this numbers problem, right? And the weirdism is that we live in a country that says no more foreigners. We don't want to bring the people we need into our country because we're racist. Let's face it, right? The Muslim imports, I think, is a problem in itself. But I'm not going to go there. I'll leave that alone. That's a problem because they got a different agenda to what we think they are trying to do, right? Look, I think I've employed 4 apprentices in my time, right? And you know what? In that time, what the government tried to put this problem on us employers, small businesses, right? They said, "No, we're going to give you staff that you can train, you can grow, and they will work for next to nothing." Yes, any fell for it. Any said, "Yeah, I'm in. I want to train young people. I want to support them because that was my motto at the time, right? Employ young, train them, develop them." And each time I employed an apprentice, here's what happened, Paulette. Number one, they weren't good enough. They were going to sink me, literally. When you run a business, you're told every staff you employ will pay you 4 times more than you pay them. Rubbish. They were costing me $2,000 a month after year 1. So I sacked them all of them. Would I do it again? No, really not. Right? The apprentice thing, don't expect small businesses to suffer unable, incapable staff. We're not going to, young or old. We're not going. My wife runs care homes. One of our workers is 95-year-old woman still working. That is a shocker. Now, maybe that's what we're going to have to do in the end, because by the time our kids get it, there will be no pension at all. Maybe they won't. I truly believe that. Right. The answer is not, oh, we have a problem in Houston. The answer is having our children create solutions. When I mentioned Coach Sean right at the beginning, right? Because I get this feeling that our kids want the good things in life because we had the good things in life, they say. And we can't be worse off than our parents. You can. And you're probably going to be. Make some choices. I spoke to my friend. When I mentioned Coach Sean is because I think the identity, who our kids think they are, and what they think they want in life, especially from work, does not match the effort they put in. Does not match who they are. Does not match their thinking. Does not match their understanding of the world. I think that our kids must change their mindset from because all of this is about choices. If you choose to go to university, and don't blame the government for sending kids to university for elect, so that's ridiculous because the kids, someone got to fill in the form. The kids fill in the form, right? And university is post 18. Don't forget. So yes, you have to stay in school to 18 to avoid being on benefits. I can agree with that. But essentially, you make a choice to go to university because you have a vision for your life, a vision for the work you want to do, how you want to serve the world. Do they?
Stop, just stop you there, right? That's the vision they have for their life because that's what we've planted. And the problem is that the reality is not what we planted.
I'm not sure. My son wants to be a doctor. Look, okay, let me try a different way. I've got 3 kids. I've done the now to the 1.2 kids that we need. I think we need 2.1 to break even, really, Paulette. That's the numbers of people, right? And we're nowhere near. I agree with you on that one. No, our birth rates across the world, across Europe, is disastrous. Across Asia, is disastrous. So we've all got this ticking time bomb that's coming to all of us. Now, what do we do? I think our kids have to sit down and truly think, what do I want to do with my life? If you even, I live in Cornwall, Paulette. Many kids don't think anywhere like that. They just think, oh, I'm alive. Oh, yeah. I got one walking around with a pigeon on the shoulder thinking he's a pigeon man. Ridiculous. What are you playing at, man? What are you doing? He's my son's friend. My son wants to be a doctor. He's working to be a doctor. He's doing the work. I'm saying the choices you make now will affect your future, right? And you have to be willing to do the work. You have to, it's not just do the work. You have to be willing to do the. People miss what success looks like, Paulette. They miss what it takes to be successful. If I talk about you alone, right? Your journey has not been a straight line. Qualify, get educated, get a job, rise up the ladder, and happy days. That's not how it works. You know
Can
that. I know
I
that.
have to stop you. I don't have a degree, just so you know.
Right.
I never went to university because my parents were in argument about who was going to pay. I, like you, was the generation where we were going to have to pay. Although with me, it was because it was an adult course. It was a
Mm,
21 plus.
mm.
I was in care. The care system said they weren't paying. They weren't paying me to go to university. If you want to go to university, you have to go back to your parents and see if they'll contribute. And they said no. So I ended up not going to university. I went to work the day after my last GCSE. And I've been working, I still am working to this day. And I'm now 62. And I was supposed to be in retirement since I was 52. So I don't know what went wrong. But what I will say is this: I think that we teach work ethic. I had YTS students working for me, and I did teach them and I did train them. And yes, they were all little mini me's. They were little minions, literally, all running around, speaking like me, sounding like me, answering the phone like me. And people were saying, "You've made minion like little." They didn't call them minions then. They used to say, "You've made mini me's," because they were all running around like me. And I used to say, "Yeah, but I'm working and I'm successful, so they want a copy." That's what they saw. They saw success and they wanted to emulate it. I don't think we're giving those kids these chances now. And what I'm saying is, I believe that businesses, and I'm talking big pharma, I'm talking the big companies, have got to open their doors to these YTS type schemes and start again and say, we've got to give these young people opportunities. Because, yeah, kids can want it, Annie. They've got to want it. Yeah, I get it. Make them be the first of the queue. I'll make my kid the first of the queue. If there's an opportunity, you go for it. But they've got to have the opportunities to go for. You can't have 18-year-old entrepreneurs every which way you look. That don't happen. That's not real. That's not realistic. So the 18-year-olds that I'm talking about, the 21-year-olds I'm talking about, have got to be given opportunities. And that's got to come from the big companies who've got the money to invest in these youngsters. And if they don't do that, then we're going to end up with a really despondent, angry bunch of young people who will take to the streets and start revolting. And I would hate to see that happen. But I can see the banners, I can see the anger already. So I know you've got to go. Do you want to just finish up?
again, I tell you, we're going to carry this on for our next conversation. Wallace, good to see you again, my friend. I really miss you, Madam Paulette. Long time not to be in a room with you. Glad to catch up with you today. Anxieties room. Great to have you here, my friend. I laughed as you were talking, Paulette.
I saw.
Right. It's Mike's comment. That degree in underwater basketball weaving wasn't a stellar plan. I agree. I agree. So you're laughing too. I'll tell you that. Right. And again, I talk in bits, right? I got 3 kids. One wants to be a doctor, so university for sure. My eldest daughter, she didn't want to do anything. She was busy. Yeah, let me leave that alone, right? She was busy doing what she's doing. Do you know what she does now, Paulette? She works in a funeral home, in a funeral parlor, looking at dead bodies. Someone's got to do it. See, those jobs are still there. Now, it's not about all being entrepreneurs. It's about finding a way that do. What do you want to do? What are you going to do? It's not our responsibility. It's your responsibility. You find what you want to do. Go through the door in front of you. If you really want what you want, Paulette, my coach tells me what you need to do as a young person is stop, really work out, what am I doing? So check yourself, right? And then reset. If you want something different, make a plan and go towards it. And look, I'm genuinely all for young people having a proper coach, Coach Sean, to really work out who are they, what do they want in life, what are they willing to do. What you can't do is throw your hands up and say, they didn't give it to me. Of course they won't. Good luck to you. Good luck on that. So my eldest son, I say all this because I want to help parents not to worry as much as they think they should, right? My eldest son, he does various jobs, warehousing, this and that. Today, he'll bring us bacon every week. He'll bring us food every week from where he works, fruits. I'm saying, right, there is a way forward. It's not just university or nothing. We live in a country of many jobs. Go and do those. Yes, maybe you haven't got your ideal job today. If you really want it, the answer is not different. Get better. Get more.
How can you get better than a first class honours in Master of Science, and there still aren't the vacancies out there? How can you get better than that, Annie?
By learning more.
So shall I tell Ben that Eddie said go and drive a van?
Ben hasn't got a problem.
Yes, he has. There aren't the vacancies. He looked on Indeed last week, and there were 230 odd jobs in that field, and he thought, blimey, that's amazing, right? And then when you dial down, half of them were cleaning jobs. There's a third of them were working in catering and whatever. There were 23 or 24 jobs that were actually in his field, and they were all looking for 4 to 5 years plus experience, right? How the heck's he going to get the bloody experience if he can't get a job in the field that he wants to work in?
Find a way in.
Listen, believe me, we're going to knock walls down. We're not going to just let it happen. But that's because he's got 2 very supportive parents.
Yes.
But they're not, everybody is that lucky. And all I talk for the masses. I talk for those that are unlikely to have that opportunity. I talk for the people who are struggling now. I'm looking after the care leavers at Christmas because I know how bloody awful it is, right? And so when I talk, I don't talk about the kids like Ben, who've got the opportunities of parents that are saying, it's okay, you can live with us for as long as you need to. Everything is fine. We'll be okay. I'm talking about the everybody's, right? And I'm also talking about the minorities. And I will tell you now that I'll fight for them like I'll fight for Ben. But what I want to make very clear is we've got a major problem. If we haven't got the jobs, you can't say to someone, create something. Out of what? Doing what? Who's going to want me? I'm 21 years old. I've got a degree. What do I do? They need the support and help to do that. There isn't the support and help to do that. We need like an entrepreneur school. That's what we need. We shouldn't
No, no, no,
entrepreneur
no, no,
school.
no. Jay's got his Paulette fix for the day, and I mean, maybe it's for the week, right? I hear you, Jay. Jay has an answer. I think Jay is saying what is the reality,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
I
But
can't say my
then
screen
we
yet.
need the
You can see it.
jobs. Yeah, but then we need the jobs for the kids that come out the trade schools. And if we haven't got them, we're in trouble again. And
Jay
this is the
answers that. Jay
argument
answers
that
that
goes
too.
round.
Jay says blue collar work will be. This there's many different options. It's not a straight line. I say again, make some choices. What are you willing to commit to? That's how you get better, Paulette. That's how walk through the door in front of you today, whatever that may be. I know you don't want to be a cleaner. Do you know one of my jobs was washer upper in the restaurant? You know how much I got paid?
I used to do
One
it.
pound,
Yeah.
one
Do you
pound
know,
50.
I did it for my dinner. I did
Right
it for a dinner.
there, you go. I say I got paid £1.50 an hour. Kids today on £13.50. That's why they're unemployed, Paulette, because they don't give the value that that employers are promised. We're not going to employ kids for charity, so that they're going to bankrupt us. We're not going to suffer our kids that way. I suffer my kids, thank you, but you suffer yours, and the others can suffer theirs. So ultimately, I think our kids will find a way. Every generation has its challenges, Paulette, and we'll solve this one as well. If you're a parent, and I'll say this to you, go and get some more Paulette's cards. Show us Paulette. Show us your cards, and I can play Jack and Walter song. I can go for my son kills me. Paulette, where are your cards? Oh no, Paulette's frozen. I might have lost her. Anyway, my friends, I say we're going to carry this conversation in a couple of weeks' time. So do join us. Natalie, I want to respect your comment. How much of it can I read? The disconnect is us. I agree. Just because one has a degree doesn't mean one should have a paid job after graduation. Natalie, that's the point, right? I agree. One needs to create their own opportunities. Oh, Nat, I'm surprised we're not married now. Seriously. And not keep living in the past. Believe in long-term ineffective governance and a pyramid scheme. Will, I guess no. Will the economy? You're saying I lost you there, right? Paulette, you've come back. Cyrus is here. Cyrus, I must go. Right. Paulette, where are you? Cyrus, I've lost Paulette. Nat, you're saying exactly what I'm saying, my friend. That's what it has to be. Cyrus, I have to go. My son will kill me because he has to go and do his fighting club, and so we really must go. My friends, we're going to bring this back in 2 weeks' time. Let me play Paulette's Jack and Water song, and Paulette does have some Jack and Water merch that you may be interested in. She doesn't want to sell anything, as Paulette never does, right? But she has good merchandise that will help our kids to think straight and to work through these anxieties around the jobs. Look, we need to go. I need to go. Here goes, my friend. Oh no, wrong.
She retrained her heart to heal the young, turned her passion into purpose, work begun. Co-author of a movement, not-for-profits gain teeth.